Hello everybody, my name is Pekka Maninen. I'm the head of Lumi Leadership Computing Facility in Finland. And today I'm about to tell you about Lumi, the European flagship supercomputer going to be located in up north. But first, some background. Lumi will be a part of an initiative called EuroHPC. And EuroHPC is an effort by the European Commission and a set of member countries and associated countries to pool resources for setting up a world-class supercomputing and data management infrastructure for all scientific research and development in Europe. In addition to the infrastructure, it's an also a research funding provider with its own ambitious research and innovation agenda. And it has been a very fast moving process so far. So after surfacing it in a very fast timetable, it announced the first generation of the supercomputer systems with the three, something they called precursors to exascale systems to Finland, Italy, and Spain, and 5 smaller but not small supercomputers to elsewhere in Europe. And we then, of course, looking ahead for the next generation of the Euro HPC system already being planned, and even the third generation of the Euro HPC systems being mentioned. Well, today, and of course, we're going to focus on the system in Finland. The system will be in Finland, in fact, here in the middle Finland or northern Finland, but it's not a Finnish system. But instead, it is a joint effort of the 10 countries in this map to collaboratively invest in, host, and make decisions together for operating this big environment. And the idea is that while the EuroHPC joint undertaking is funding one half of the system, the member countries of the consortium are funding the other half, and then the cycles of this machine will be shared according to this by the amount of investments to the total cost of ownership. And accordingly, the 50% of the cycles will be allocated by the EuroHPC joint undertaking via peer review process operated by the PRAISE research infrastructure, and that's available for everybody in the EuroHPC countries. And the other half is by these Lumi partner countries, and they are allocated by local considerations and are seen as extensions to the national offering that these countries do have. The consortium was likely the key reason why the Commission believed the Lumi case, and they decided to locate the system in Kajaani, but another one was definitely the site for the Lumi supercomputer. And it's in a former paper mill, so paper production gone already to Latin America quite a while ago, but the factory remains, and the capability of hosting supercomputers all the way to say 200 megawatts. So the paper machines used to consume a lot of electricity, and this is still on the site, and we can use it for IT capacity now. And we can run this IT load with fully carbon neutral electricity based on hydroelectric power. It has some local hydro power plants, but also it can be fed in from the national grid. It's in the climate is cool, and it's possible to cool down the systems with free cooling throughout the year, rendering the power usage and efficiency to a very low number. But in fact, this time Lumi is not wasting the heat by just letting it out, but collecting it and heating the surrounding city of Kajaani. In fact, 20% of the city will be heated up by the Lumi excess heat. So, and as somebody's waste is somebody's treasure, so in fact we're going to get even real money back from the system, rendering the effective energy price into a very cost-efficient levels. Kajaani may be remote on a map, but it's very well connected, so it has a very high connectivity available through all the way to Giant, being a part of the Nordic internet backbone, and it can comply with the most stringent security standards. But the background story side, what is Lumi? It's going to be one of the fastest supercomputers in the world upon the time of the installation. And it's going to be an HPE Cray system with 550 petaflops in peak performance, making it one of the fastest when it enrolls the November 21 top 500 list. In comparison, it's an comparison to the list of today. It's on the level of the fastest computer of today, and more than 2 times faster than the second fastest computer. And one could perhaps compare it to the 1.5 million laptops, forming a tower of 20 kilometers plus. And but of course, Lumi won't do the job of 1.5 million laptops and vice versa, but just give you a rough estimate on the computing capability. But we won't need such a tower. It's a pretty compact installation, in fact. So in a size of a tennis court, a bit more. But in more importantly, it's going to be a modern platform for more traditional high-performance computing, AI methods, and high-performance data analytics, and especially their convergence based on GPU technology. To be a bit more tech savvy, some flops and bytes. Quick walkthrough on the Lumi's architecture. It's most of the computing capacity comes from the GPU partition, powered by the AMD's next-gen GPUs. It's featuring a supplementary CPU partition, also based on AMD technology, and a partition for interactive usage and visualization, meshing, post-processing, and so on. The storage will be based on 3 layers, so an accelerated storage of flash, more traditional parallel storage, as well as object storage service. And everything is sitting nicely in the same high-speed interconnect, sharing the same user environment, visibility to the storage capabilities, and so on. And this is the part that will come together with the contract with the system vendor. But we do have aspirations of adding some emerging technology capacities for users to explore during the course of run. Lumi's timeline is such that we are now ready in Kajaani to take the system in. This data center will look this kind of a snowbank. It is we're going to start the physical installations later this spring, such that we can open the first part of the machine, meaning everything besides the GPU partition after the summer breaks, and the system will be in full glory at the end of this year, enrolling the November 21 top 500 list. We have designed Lumi with an idea of a Swiss Army knife in mind. So we want the system be something that there's something to offer for a very wide spectrum of use cases and use communities. just an examples that we could use as kind of a driving schemes is climate science and with an example of the digital twins of the Destination Earth program. Perhaps personalized medicine will be an important use case of the supercomputers of this time frame. It's going to be one of the leading platforms for applications of artificial intelligence, especially deep learning, for very large-scale advanced data analytics, and of course, like a commercial applications of machine learning. We are expecting new user communities or emerging user communities to find the largest computing capabilities also very useful tool, and hope to see digital humanities to grow in the top-notch, the top-end high-performance computing. And just in mentioning passing that the allocation schemes for Lumi include like this kind of like a urgent computing possibilities for allocating projects in a fast response for time and mission critical simulations, with a good example of the currently reigning pandemic and responses to that, or in some cases of other crises. For the user community and the potential user communities, the message is that it's a good time for starting thinking on the projects and use cases for Lumi and the other European, the Euro-HPC systems. So thinking big in terms of tier 0 grand challenges, or modernizing workflows to harness the power of the machine learning analytics in conjunction of traditional simulation science, just as an example. Lumi, as well as the other Euro-HPC systems, will be GPU-based machines, so there is a need for software enabling work to really use the full potential of these systems. So perhaps seeing if the software is already been enabled, or finding a corresponding GPU enabled package, or making the effort of modernizing applications to the GPU world. Meaning, even if your legacy code works, there's still we hope there's an incentive to fix it to this decade. And perhaps only part of the application or workflow needs to be enabled, and the rest just running on the x86 partition of the machine. And as a conclusion, I would like to stress a couple of facts. So in Europe, we are entering a golden age of scientific computing, in the sense that there will be unprecedented amount of computational resources and capabilities available for the European research and innovation. And not only infrastructure, but ambitious efforts for competence building and user support, and reaching out towards new cases, use cases, user communities. Today I was introducing you Lumi system, which is going to be the flagship supercomputer in Europe for a couple of years. And it's a leadership class resource for designed for, like I said, as a Swiss Army knife for a broad range of user communities and workflows, and with a special attention to user experience and easy to use. It will be a GPU-based system, which will need some preparatory work. However, it's not going to be an esoteric or experimental system in any manner, but a robust production system. And for taking the most out of the GPU systems, there will be application work being needed and effort being spent, but I'm sure it will pay off in terms of increased productivity and capabilities for discovery and it's time to start preparing for the Lumi era. So find us in internet, Lumi, supercomputer.eu. We have a collection of blog postings and articles appearing, and different links to the resources. Feel free to connect us in social media. In case of any questions, you can find us from the contact at lumisupercomputer.eu, or feel free to contact me directly if something in your mind. What comes to Lumi pilot usage? Like I said, so we have installing the system in 2 phases. So there's an part of the system acceptance is including trial period or availability period, just as we ensure the system stability. So one running in after the summer break for the first phase, and at the end of the year for the second phase. And we have decided to do it in a show that each of these 10 countries in the Lumi consortium have selected 2 pilot projects for the both of these phases. Not all the projects have been selected, but all the partners have been communicated to possibility of doing this selection. And these pilots can then can and should compute as much as they can, and in basically harnessing the system as a whole. And we have selected the profiles for the different phases, such that the first phase use cases and the scientific cases would be focusing on data intensive computing, high throughput computing, and high performance data analytics. And the second phase would be then this kind of like a very highly scalable GPU applications for very high compute capability harnessed for a single job.